We only have one more week, guys. One more week. And Goldie is going to have a new owner. This picture was taken during WWE Fastlane on Sunday night. Tommaso Ciampa recovering from neck surgery. As you see him there, he's in a neck brace, crutch behind him, sitting comfortably at home. Or uncomfortably, I can imagine. But you guys know what I mean. And there he is holding Goldie like he always does, close to his chest, because it's the most valuable thing in the world to Tommaso Ciampa. Goldie even has a little bandage around the side plate there. Gotta love the attention to detail. This will be the last time we see Tommaso Ciampa with the NXT title. Goldie and I are on the fast lane to recovery. The Blackheart. Now, I didn't know that WWE was actually filming tonight on top of what we're seeing from Full Sail with the Dusty Classic tonight, main event, DIY, or the reformation, for now, of DIY against the team of Alistair Black and Ricochet. I had no idea that they were actually at Full Sail filming for next week. So, I went ahead and did something that I don't usually do. I went ahead and I looked at spoilers. Because I am very interested to know what they do with the NXT title going into WrestleMania weekend. It was legitimately the first thing that I read to open the new set of tapings, which begin on March 20th. We will see this next week. Now, I don't want to go over spoilers tonight. I'm not going to reveal anything for you guys, just in case you want to be surprised. But we sat here last week, and we went over exactly how WWE could make this into an overwhelming positive. Even though that there's nothing positive about Tommaso Ciampa being injured and him relinquishing the NXT title. Nothing about it is positive. But if WWE really wanted to make positive on TV with everything regarding the NXT title and make it special going into the biggest weekend of the year for WWE, we explained and we talked about it, and we even booked a tournament for the NXT title to take place. Whether it happens all in one night like the King of the Ring at TakeOver New York, or you just do the first round and then do the semis and the finals at TakeOver, that's something that could easily be done. I was hoping WWE would look at this as another Alistair Black getting injured before TakeOver Brooklyn last summer in 2018, and how they turned that into an overwhelming positive. And it resulted in probably the best WWE storyline all year. Who attacked Alistair Black? And it ended up being Johnny Gargano, as Johnny Gargano was teetering on the good and on the bad, and we didn't know where he stood. He was drifting in and out of his Johnny Wrestling persona and channeling his inner evil, his inner dark side. Pretty much cheating or doing what he has to do to get ahead. Because everybody else did it. Why not Johnny Wrestling? Why am I looked down upon when I do the same thing that everybody else does? I thought it was great. And I thought WWE was going to put a lot of creativity, is the best word for me to use, into all this. And I'm looking at the spoilers right now, and they didn't do a goddamn thing that we talked about. They didn't give us a tournament. They didn't give us anything creative whatsoever. And I'm not going to go over what happens or in what context the title will be determined, or the new champion will be determined. I'm not going to go over who's in the main event of NXT Takeover New York, or who was, I guess, announced in this entire situation, given an opportunity to even go after the title in light of Ciampa's injury. I will not be announcing any of that. All I will be simply saying is, for the first time in, I can't even remember, it looked like NXT has taken the easy way out and just did something that Monday Night Raw would do for the NXT title. And I'm reading this, and it really makes me disappointed that they didn't do so much more with the remaining weeks that they had, and they didn't do so much more in the just grand scheme of how severe this injury was. And we watched NXT tonight, and it even stings more to know that Ciampa is not going to be there, that he's not the NXT champion. And it stings even more on top of that after we seen the closing moments of NXT tonight, where Ciampa did the same exact thing he did at the very beginning of all this, or at least tried to, with Johnny. And Johnny played him like a puppet this time around. 2 years later, Johnny gloated Tommaso Ciampa into thinking he was hurt, and we got the title match that was going to be for TakeOver New York. And I love the way that Johnny yelled at the end of the show, kissing his wife. Johnny wrestling is back. Let me hear you. I'm back. Simple. It told the story. Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano teaming up. Johnny always knew in the back of his head that this was too good to be true. They won one match. Everything is great for now. How long is this going to be until we lose? What is Ciampa's attitude going to be when he loses? Johnny's probably thinking, if we lost, which they did tonight, this motherfucker still got the NXT Championship. What the fuck do I have? What do I have? I got a bum knee. He didn't have a bum knee. Johnny Gargano kind of just, I guess, gloated, like I said, Tommaso Ciampa into thinking he was hurt and turned the tables on him, knowing that Ciampa was ready, willing, and able to turn on him at any moment, and Johnny was prepared. And like I said, it stings even more knowing that the main event that we would have gotten is no more. And I'm reading all these spoilers, and I see that WWE didn't put anything into the vacant NXT Championship, and it's very depressing. It's very depressing. If you guys want to go read the spoilers, they're all over the place. Normally, I don't do it. I was going to have it spoiled for me anyway, I'm sure. But I was so high on Tommaso Ciampa and the NXT title reign that he had, and I was so excited to see Johnny and Ciampa again in the finale of this entire story that I couldn't wait till next week to find out what they did with the championship. And again, it's very disappointing. Now, what they did, all I will say is this. All they did is take everything that you've seen as far as what you were going to see at TakeOver, and they put it in this match. And the end result was something that I had originally pitched anyway in the tournament. If you guys want to go back and listen to how I detail the tournament and what I would make the finals, I'm not too far off at all. And WWE, I just wish they would have put a little bit more emphasis on how important this title is. And they didn't do that, man. And it's just very depressing that I'm reading this shit. And you guys, I'm sure, I would almost guarantee you are going to feel the same way that I do. But on top of that, man, NXT tonight was a great show. Very compact, very to the point, as always. This year's Dusty Classic has been the best, I think, we've seen so far of the Dusty Classics. And we're going to go over the final two matches in the semifinals. We are now looking at the finals. I can imagine that we all know who's going to win. And NXT TakeOver is going to have a great tag team title match. So we'll go over all of that. And we crown, hopefully, a new number one contender for the women's NXT title on tonight's show. But apparently, this syndrome going around, known as Ronda Rousey syndrome, is running wild in WWE. And it's very contagious. Stupidity is contagious, folks. Please don't let it get to you. So keep yourself clear of Ronda Rousey syndrome. We'll go over that, because apparently Shayna Baszler is suffering from the same thing that Ronda Rousey suffered from at Fastlane on Sunday. Also, we will go over the DIY and Alistair Black Ricochet main event and detail what exactly Tommaso Ciampa tried to do to Johnny Gargano with Candice LeRae there at the end of the show tonight. So, like I said, very compact, very direct episode of NXT. Only 3 matches. We'll go over everything that you guys need to this week right here on the podcast. Make sure you guys follow me on social media, man, at JD from NY206, both on Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. Follow me on Twitch. I was live streaming Apex Legends earlier. Had a few wins live on stream, man. So if you guys are into the video game deal, you guys know what to do, man. JD from NY on Twitch, JD from New York, and JD from NY206 on both Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you guys go and get your t-shirts, man. Bonfire.com is the official home of JD's Elite, exclusive to Bonfire.com, man. Thank you guys so much for the last-minute orders. You guys are really kicking ass with this second campaign. At the end of the night, the campaign is over, and you guys will get your t-shirts guaranteed before WrestleMania. So if you guys are going to be coming to the meet and greet, man, you guys know what to do. You need to wear that t-shirt and come on out to Hooters on 155 West 33rd Street in New York City, right across from Madison Square Garden, man. JD from NY meet and greet 1 to 4 p.m. April 5th, Friday, right before NXT Takeover New York. And that gives you guys plenty of time to get to the Barclays Center if you are indeed going. We already have 44 people RSVP'd with another 20 interested in coming, man. So if you guys are interested in coming, please RSVP down below in the comments. That will be pinned at the very top. So I hope to see you all out there wearing your JD Elite t-shirts from bonfire.com, man. Make sure you get it. Link is down in the description so you guys can go get yours today. If you missed any of my uploads, man, you guys know what to do. They are linked in the annotation that you see in the top right corner of the screen. Monday Night Raw, Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns, pretty much all but confirmed at WrestleMania. Vince McMahon clearly does not want Kofi Kingston in the main event of WrestleMania for the WWE title, making his road to WrestleMania virtually impossible. And I do have to correct myself, and thank you for everybody, the 900 of you that corrected me. I must have not been paying close enough attention. I thought that Daniel Bryan was going to be a part of the gauntlet match next week on SmackDown Live. Apparently, he is not. Thank God, because I don't want to see him take another L. But apparently, it will be Eric Rowan, The Bar, Samoa Joe, Randy Orton, and then obviously Kofi Kingston. So, Daniel Bryan is not a part of the gauntlet match. If Kofi wins the gauntlet match, then he will obviously get Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. So, I thank all of you sleuths out there for correcting me on the SmackDown Live review. I hope you guys enjoyed it anyway, outside that one little error. So, if you guys want to go check that out, link is in the annotation that you see in the top right corner of the screen, plus Fastlane and the official review from the Sunday's pay-per-view. Go and check that out. Off the script on Sunday. Also, major WrestleMania news concerning WrestleMania 35. Bad news for Kofi Kingston. It's all lining up, man. Kofi is going to WrestleMania, but will he walk out the WWE Champion? I don't think so. So we go over all that in the week's content right here on the channel. NXT opened up tonight, man, with the second round of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. It was the Forgotten Sons. That is Wesley Blake and Steve Cutler versus Mustache Mountain, Trent Seven, and Tyler Bate. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I mentioned last week that the Forgotten Sons had their best match to date in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic last week. And I stand behind that and whatever I said about the Forgotten Sons last week. I'm going to go a bit further this week and surprise you all and say, I think the Forgotten Sons have won me over. I don't know what it is about them. Maybe it's just the entire, I guess it's their tournament and how they have advanced in this tournament. But whatever they're doing is making me a fan. Now, again, I'm going to stand behind what I said. Last week was their best match to date. This week was a great match with Mustache Mountain. And the only reason why I think I did not like them as much as I should have is because of Jackson Ryker. I think he is absolutely terrible for the entire overall group. Now, if he stays on the outside like he did tonight and just stands there like an imposing figure, which he is, he'll be fine. But having that guy in a revolving door of mixtures in this tag team is a no-win situation for me. I'm sorry. You're not going to put Jackson Ryker in the ring with a Steve Cutler and expect a good tag team match. You're not going to put a Jackson Ryker in there with a Wesley Blake and expect a good tag team match. Not going to happen. Not going to. This is the team that the Forgotten Sons needs to have out there every single time. Jackson Ryker does absolutely nothing for me. And I think he is the sole reason why I really haven't gotten behind the Forgotten Sons in pretty much their entire run in NXT. So there, I said it. I'm a fan of the Forgotten Sons. When it comes to Steve Cutler and Wesley Blake, yes. Anything with Jackson Ryker, forget about it. Get off my TV worthy. This was a very good tag team match, man, but a typical tag team match nonetheless. I feel like we get the same tag team match all the time with Mustache Mountain. I love them. I think they're great, but this was a very basic NXT tag team match that got the job done, and the Forgotten Sons advance into the finals of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. This was Tyler Bate starting it off, setting the table, and I'm not talking about Titus Catering. Nobody sets the table better than Dana Brooke. It sets the tag team match table for Mustache Mountain. Tyler Bate's in there. You got Trent Seven on the outside. He gets the tag. Trent Seven gets beat down, and then Tyler Bate gets the hot tag. And then things really get shifted into that next gear. But the thing here that I like is that they went back and told a story, a familiar story, on Trent Seven's knee. Remember the knee that the Undisputed Era and Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, exposed to a point where Tyler Bate was forced to throw in the towel so that they don't do permanent damage, quote-unquote, to Trent Seven's knee. In the end, they lost the NXT Tag Team titles, and that was the story for this match. They went right after the knee and exposed the knee on Trent Seven. So that was the whole story here. Towards the end of this thing, we got Trent Seven on one knee, Tyler Bates coming on in, trying to win the match by himself like he always does. Cutler gets sent to the outside. Seven gets tagged in. He's still hobbling on that one knee. Lariat, Dragon, Suplex combo goes for a pin. Ryker on the outside, doing what he needs to do, is able to put Murphy's foot on the rope for a rope break. Bate with a big dive to the outside, clearing out both guys. Back in the ring, Bate heads up to the top rope. He gets sent down to the floor. Ryker then hits him with a lariat. Seven looks for a suicide dive like a dummy. He's going to go out there and try to get revenge on Tyler Bate getting taken out. Seven looks for a suicide dive and gets hit with a running knee, as I believe it was Wesley Blake who was just paying attention very closely to what was going on. He was on the apron. Running knee, and then it ended up being the double stomp reverse DDT combo on Seven. Pinfall, and that will do it. We got the Forgotten Sons advancing to the finals of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. I think that they've had a great tournament so far. And when you look back at the overall tournament, you're probably going to go, wow, man, Alistair Black and Ricochet had a really, really great tournament. But that's a given, because it's Alistair Black and Ricochet. How are you not going to go with those guys? But if you really want to be fair, I think this tournament belongs to the Forgotten Sons, whether they win or lose. Because they had great matches so far in this tournament. I can imagine what they're going to do with two guys like Ricochet and Alistair Black in the finals of this tournament. So I'm really, really impressed by what they have shown us in this tournament. And if there's an MVP of the 8 teams in this tournament based on in-ring work alone, you got to be fair, man. You got to give it to the Forgotten Sons. They might not be your cup of tea. They might be boring to you, but this is how you win people over. This is the type of situation in which they have an opportunity to win over people. This tournament has done the Forgotten Sons so good. It is absolutely amazing to me how people can still look at them and not deem them a good tag team. You might not like the gimmick, but give credit where credit is due. Wesley Blake and Steve Cutler are pretty damn fucking good at what they do. Shayna Baszler's on commentary, man, and this was the highlight of the night for me. This was the highlight of the night for me. Shayna Baszler is sitting on commentary next to Percy Watson, and Mauro Ranallo's looking over at her, and Nigel McGuinness is looking over at her, and she's leaning back in the chair with the NXT Women's Championship draped over her shoulder. First of all, she's wearing a Bolt Thrower shirt. I don't know how more metal you could get than that. So kudos to Shayna Baszler. And she's slumping in the chair with her arms crossed and the NXT Women's Championship draped over her shoulder. Like a fucking beast, like a badass. And Mauro is asking her these simple yet direct questions. What do you think about these two women who are vying for the number one contendership for the NXT Women's Championship? She goes on to simply say, I don't care. One is a loser from Japan, and the other one, I tapped out. Or I put to sleep, rather. She didn't tap out Bianca Belair. She put Bianca Belair to sleep. One's a loser from Japan, and the other one, I put to sleep. Who cares? I mean, can you get any more great than that? What an answer. What an answer from our NXT Women's Champion. So, we get this match that I was very much looking forward to between Io Shirai and Bianca Belair. And every time I look at Io Shirai, I cringe a little bit because I realize how great she really is, and then what awaits her when she's done in NXT, and how much they're going to ruin her on Raw or SmackDown Live, wherever she unfortunately ends up. I'm looking at Bianca Belair, and I'm like, damn, this woman is going to be so fucking great. But what is it going to amount to? In a year or two when they get called up, what is it really going to matter? Enjoy them now, folks. They will not be the same or portrayed the same as you see them now. This match went to a no contest. This was a pretty damn good match. It went about 7 minutes. And this was nothing more than an hors d'oeuvre for you guys, because what is to come at TakeOver New York is going to be the main course. Now, how we get to this main course was a little ridiculous. Shayna Baszler is great, and I love Shayna, you love Shayna, we all love Miss Baszler. But Miss Baszler is suffering from Ronda Rousey syndrome. Now, Ronda Rousey came out on Sunday night at Fastlane and got Becky Lynch into the main event of WrestleMania for the Raw Women's Championship. So Becky wins by disqualification, and she gets added because she won. She won by DQ by any means necessary. She's in the main event of WrestleMania. Ronda Rousey helped Becky Lynch get there. Now, I mentioned this on Sunday night. Yeah, it's great. We got the main event, but look at how WWE went about it. Ronda Rousey looks like a blithering idiot for what she did on Sunday night. Now, I don't give a fuck how tough you are. You could be the toughest person that walks this fucking planet. I would rather you be smart than stupid. And Ronda Rousey showed that she is stupid and she has zero intelligence. Because why would you want to go into this thing on WrestleMania Sunday challenging two other women when you could have only had one? So that doesn't really paint Ronda Rousey in the most intelligent of light. Shayna Baszler did the same thing. And I'm wondering if she's suffering from what I mentioned before, Ronda Rousey syndrome. Shayna Baszler gets up from the commentary booth and she goes to attack both Io and Bianca Belair. Now, first of all, before we even got there, there was a Tree of Woe position, I believe, on Io. And Belair takes her hair whip and she smacks Io with the hair whip. Okay, right to the stomach. Belair heads to the top rope. Io is the one to stop all of this. Shirai heads to the top for Hurricanrana and sends Belair flying. It looked pretty brutal. Now, Belair did not land flush. It looks like she landed slightly on her shoulder, so it looked pretty devastating on the way down. Shirai looks for a moonsault. She goes for the big moonsault. Knees up. Belair gets a spear afterwards. Baszler was then asked over and over who she would rather face at commentary, and she gave the same answer. I don't care. One is a loser from Japan, and the other one I put to sleep. So she had enough of the dumb questioning. She went to the ring and attacked both Belair and Shirai. So there you go. Kirifuda clutch on both. She tried to choke both of them out. Kairi Sane comes running down the aisle. I don't know what she was doing or what she was wearing. She had this big pendant on her neck, black jeans, and a nice cut-off shirt. Looked good. She got choked out for her efforts. Another dummy coming from the back. You really going to challenge Shayna Baszler when she's all Tasmanian devil-like Again, I don't know why they paint these baby faces like a bunch of dummies. Now, Baszler didn't look intelligent here at all either, because instead of determining a winner here, one woman to challenge you at TakeOver, now you're looking at possibly both Io and Bianca Belair. So you went from one to now two others, just like Ronda Rousey. So both horsewomen, who are champions on their respective brands, are now looking at a triple threat match at WrestleMania weekend. One for TakeOver and one for WrestleMania. So we get Kathy Kelly on the outside of Full Sail University, and she's interviewing Shayna Baszler. What made you do what you did? Blah, 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 blah. And Shayna went on to say that nobody in that locker room even deserves a shot at me. Nobody's going to be able to take this title from me. Right? Nobody can stand up to me. She pretty much staked her dominance over the NXT women's division. That nobody is of a deserving title shot against Shayna Baszler. So she's walking away, and Kathy Kelly said, well, listen, you might want to hear what I have to say per William Regal. Because of your actions here tonight and interfering in this number one contenders match, now you are looking at a fatal four-way at NXT Takeover New York against Io, Bianca, and Kairi Sane. Kairi Sane is now added to the women's championship match, so it's not a triple threat. It's even worse, and it makes Shayna look even more stupid. Now she's looking at a fatal four-way. I don't know, man. I have no problem with it. I just don't like the fact that Shayna looks like a dummy. You want to be a dominating champion? You've already shown that. You don't need to do anything. You could have sat in that chair and been the biggest bitch on the fucking planet. But now that you got up from the chair and you did what you did, you kind of look like a dummy. I don't like the way that they wrote Shayna to look there. That's just my gripe with that. So instead of a number one contenders match tonight, we got a no contest, and now we're looking at a fatal four-way for the NXT Women's Championship at TakeOver New York. 2 weeks ago, we look back at the Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic match that ended in a double countout. Last week, the two nearly came to blows at the PC, with Dijakovic wanting to finish things right then and there while Keith Lee was training in the ring with Eric Boogs Bugenhagen. Now, the next week that we see NXT on Wednesday, these two will meet in the ring again. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but we are looking at possibly another no contest and a third and deciding match taking place at TakeOver New York. That's what I would do here. Now, I think those guys could tear it down at the Barclays Center on Friday night for NXT TakeOver New York. A lot of you guys, I've yet to do so. A lot of you guys told me to go and watch their matches on the indies, and I made a snide remark about, well, they did a lot of whatever in that one match that they had so far on NXT TV. What more could they do? A lot of you guys said, JD, you got to go back and watch their match. These two have a whole fucking shitload of things that they could do that are going to blow your mind. So I'm hoping that we don't get the blow-off here and that we get the blow-off at TakeOver, because I am in this mode, and it's the season. It's the WWE season to start getting people, familiar with certain guys. Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic are guys that people need to start familiarizing themselves with on television. You got to want to see them. And I think giving those guys the spotlight at TakeOver is going to do exactly that. And they need to create some sort of buzz for themselves. Dijakovic's been kind of on the back burner. Keith Lee has been on the back burner. He's not really doing much of anything on NXT right now. This could be something that could break both guys out at the same time and give them a spotlight on the biggest weekend of wrestling in the year, which people are going to be talking about on weeks after it's over. So that's exactly what I would do there. Now, we move on to the main event. Alistair Black and Ricochet versus Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. I don't think that DIY wore matching outfits last week. I don't really pay attention to that type of thing, but they did come out wearing old school DIY trunks tonight on TakeOver with their old theme music again like they did last week. This was a damn good match, man. This went close to 14 minutes. This was the main event of the show. Alistair Black and Ricochet win via pinfall to advance to the finals. They will be going up against the Forgotten Sons to see who challenges the War Raiders at NXT TakeOver New York. Now, this This was a great tag team match. This overall tournament was just fucking fantastic, man. Again, tag team wrestling on NXT. I don't know why that WWE can't just follow the model of what NXT does here with tag teams on the main roster and give tag team wrestling an important feel. Everything that all these teams did was just great, man. Every single team in this tournament deserves a fucking standing O. They do. And I love tag team wrestling, and these are the types of matches that I want to see on my TV. So, Black hits Black hits a black elbow. Black hits a back elbow. And I'll talk about Black in a second, because I want to kind of go over exactly how I'm feeling even now. I know I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. Even now, I'm feeling it more and more each and every week. So we'll talk about him in a second. Hits a back elbow. Ciampa tags in. DIY goes for meet them in the middle. And Ricochet pulls Gargano out to the floor. Tries for a big moonsault. Nobody's home. Gets super kicked. Black heads to the top rope. Ciampa with a cutter on the apron. Gargano with a slingshot. DDT only gets a 2 count. Gargano gets the Gargano escape locked in. Ciampa stops Ricochet and tries for a Fujiwara armbar, but he fights out of it and hits a Death Valley driver on Gargano. Gargano's knees look to be banged up. Tags out. Ciampa decides to go back out to the floor and check on Johnny. Black tags Ricochet in, and he and Ciampa go at it with some big strikes. Ciampa lands a devastating knee. Ricochet returns fire with a Pele kick. Trying to make his way back into the ring, Gargano just cannot do it anymore. Black hits Black Mass on Ciampa. Ricochet hit a absolutely picture-perfect 630. That it looked even prettier in the slow-motion instant replay. Splash, 1, 2, 3, it is all over. And we got the team of Alistair Black and Ricochet going on into the finals to go up against the Forgotten Sons. The finals will be in 2 weeks. Post-match, Ricochet and Black celebrate. Candice LeRae is heading down to the ring. She runs down the ramp. Johnny is leaning back against the barricade on the outside. Ciampa is sitting on the apron, looking all distraught. He heads over to Gargano and helps him up. Full Sail's giving them a standing ovation. They make their way up the ramp. Ciampa, you knew something was coming from a mile away. Ciampa just has this face where he's just getting angry and angry and angry with each step that he takes on the ramp. And he just snapped. He grabbed Johnny by the neck. He was going to throw him into the LED boards like they did 2 years ago in Chicago. And Johnny said, "Nah, motherfucker, you ain't getting me this time." He stops dead in his tracks, stops Ciampa from throwing him into the LED board, reverses it, throws Ciampa into the LED board, and then gives him a huge super kick and lays out Ciampa on the ramp. He stands up on his own 2 feet. He starts shaking his leg around. "I'm not hurt, bitch. I got you, and I knew exactly what you were trying to do. DIY is dead. Johnny Wrestling is back." Candice comes out. They look down at Ciampa. Johnny kisses his wife. And Johnny Wrestling chants ring out through Full Sail. Johnny loved it so much, he's like, "I can't hear you. Say it louder." And then he says with them, "Johnny Wrestling is back," which breaks my heart because I know we won't be getting the proper main event for NXT Takeover New York. So there you go. That is the way NXT ended. Very, very good show. 3 matches. The finals have been absolutely fantastic. At the end of the year, it will probably go down as one of the best things that WWE did all year. I absolutely loved all 8 teams in this tournament. Really, really great shit. Tag team wrestling is thriving in NXT as it should be all over the place. Alistair Black and Ricochet, man. The one thing I want to mention about Alistair Black and Ricochet, I love both guys. Both guys are my boys, man. Where people find fault in Ricochet, I look past all that because I think he's absolutely fucking fantastic. Alistair Black, the same thing. But I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. I hate the simple fact that WWE is pairing these two. Now, I know why they're doing it, and I want to pretend that WWE is pairing these two guys on the main roster because of what they're doing here in the Dusty Classic, which may end up being the case anyway. They want to keep that vibe, and I like that, and I appreciate that. What you're seeing on the main roster right now with Ricochet and Alistair Black is because of what they're doing in NXT. NXT needs to be acknowledged, and I hope that that is the case. But with Alistair Black, I feel like this is hurting him more than it is Ricochet. Ricochet looks fine. Ricochet is Ricochet. But Alistair Black, I feel that when he was on his own, and you could go back to when he came back from injury, I feel like when he was going into that match with Johnny Gargano at War Games, I feel like he's just kind of been lost in the shuffle for some reason. It's not the fact that I'm losing interest in Alistair Black. I would never lose interest in Black. I put so much of my investment in Alistair Black. I'm watching him grow in NXT. It's not the fact that I'm losing interest in him. It's not the fact that he sucks. He's fucking great. It's just the fact that I feel that if you look at Alistair Black versus Johnny at War Games, and you look at Alistair Black now doing this thing with Ricochet, this tag team thing with Ricochet, it's not the same Alistair Black. I feel like they humanized him just a little too much for my liking. And both guys seriously need to go on their own. Now, the only way that I could possibly see this happening and going on their own is what my buddy Jesse told me tonight, and I agree with him. And I wouldn't mind it at all. Ricochet is going to be fine. This is really doing Ricochet good. They both look great. It's just Alistair Black has lost that mystique that makes him, special. I feel like he's just like everybody else. He's very ordinary. And a part of that might have to do with being on Monday Night Raw. To be honest with you, I feel like Alistair Black is very ordinary right now. And Monday Night Raw could take the biggest guy and make him feel ordinary. Kenny Omega could come to WWE, and if he was on Monday Night Raw, he would feel like everybody else. I guarantee you. And that's what they do. You cannot be bigger than who they want to be in that position. You can't. Alistair Black came in from NXT with this big mystique about him. He had this big fucking look, this big feel to him, this unearthly feel. And I feel like he's been humanized to a point where if you put him in the ring with a Zack Ryder, or you put him in the ring with any of these bums, an Apollo Crews on Monday Night Raw, that he's going to feel like they feel. Ordinary, plain, not special. And it's getting worse week by week. My buddy Jesse said the only way that they could do this and justify this and get Alistair Black back to where he was with this big mystique, right, about him, is turn him heel. Have him turn heel on Ricochet. Because I don't really care about them staying a tag team. Who the fuck wants to see these guys break up on friendly terms in this tag team? Have them lose. Have Alistair Black just fucking black mass Ricochet's hat off. There you go. Put an IC title in that feud. I'd be set. I don't know, man. They need to separate. They need to go their separate ways. They're both main event level guys that are stuck right now in tag team purgatory on Raw because they don't have anything else better for them to do. And I want to think, and I don't think WWE is this bright, I want to think that what they're doing with them is because of the Dusty Classic. What happens when the Dusty Classic is over? There's no reason for them to be teaming. There's no reason for Black and Ricochet to be a tag team when they either win or lose. In this case, I think they're going to lose to the War Raiders. Even if they make it there. At that point, I wouldn't even book them in that match. Honestly, I wouldn't even book them in that match. I would actually book the breakup to happen in the finals and book them at TakeOver. And give the Forgotten Sons the match with the War Raiders. That's what I would do. Because I think the Forgotten Sons, to be honest with you, they deserve it. After what they've done, they deserve a shot at the War Raiders. What else you gonna have on TakeOver, right? You're gonna have the NXT title. You're gonna have the NXT title. Johnny versus whomever for the NXT Championship, which, again, I don't really know how Johnny is the number one contender for the NXT Championship. After tonight, they deemed him the number one contender for the NXT title. That is something I also have a problem with as well. So we're just giving it to Johnny because. We'll talk about that next week, though. So Johnny is in the NXT title match. We're probably going to get Matt Riddle versus the Velveteen Dream, because that's what they hyped up again tonight in a promo with Matt Riddle. And Matt Riddle came out to confront the Velveteen Dream. So it's going to be Riddle versus Dream, I'm assuming. Those are the two big men's singles title matches. You got the women's title match, a fatal four-way now. Shayna, Io, Bianca, and Kairi. You're going to have the tag team title match. And if they don't want to do Dijakovic and Keith Lee, Ricochet and Alistair Black. There's your 5 matches right there. Or if they want to do Dijakovic and Keith Lee, they could give us 6 matches. They could give us 6 matches at TakeOver New York, which I think would be great. Because it's the biggest show of the year. But I don't know what they're going to do. If I was to break these guys up, I'd have it happen in the finals of this tournament and give the match to the Forgotten Sons at TakeOver against the War Raiders. That's what I would do. I don't know, man. I might be thinking too far ahead. I might be jumping all over the place, but the consensus here is Ricochet and Alistair Black do not belong as a tag team. And Alistair Black is not feeling the same as he was back in late 2018. Something needs to be done. Something needs to be fixed. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm getting out of here, guys. It was a great episode of NXT. It was just very, lacking in the news department because we're all wondering what's going to happen with Tommaso Ciampa and the NXT title. I guess we'll find out more next week. There was no news regarding any NXT news and notes either, or any NXT stories. I know there were some debuts at some house shows. ACH made his debut. I heard he made his debut tonight at the Full Sail tapings. He will no longer be called ACH. He's going under his real name. I know Trevor Lee made his house show debut for NXT, so that is coming along quite nicely. WWE signed Robbie E to a WWE contract, so he's at the Performance Center right now. Chelsea Green is starting to make her way to television, so they're going to get her on television. I'm assuming that is because Shayna's getting called up. So they're going to need another woman down in NXT to kind of take that place and move on up the ranks. So we'll see what happens with that. But as far as NXT news and notes go, man, nothing's going to happen until next week where we find out what exactly is going to happen with Tommaso Ciampa and the NXT Championship going into TakeOver New York, man. So if you guys enjoyed this podcast, let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Hit that thumbs up down below as well. Let's try for 1,000 likes. The return of Johnny Wrestling, man. Johnny Wrestling is back. And he is not going to be going one-on-one with Tommaso Ciampa at TakeOver New York. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. Hit that subscribe button down below, as well as the bell. Turn on that bell for all notifications. That is Twitter and Instagram, by the way, on social media. JD from New York on Twitch. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. And make sure you guys go and get your t-shirts, man. You guys know the deal. Bonfire.com. Link is down in the description of this very video. JD's Elite exclusively on Bonfire.com. You guys got till tonight for the second campaign to be over, man. You guys can still order whenever you want. You're just not going to get it for WrestleMania. If you guys want to go check out the other videos, man, Fastlane, Raw, SmackDown. You got NXT tonight. Devil May Cry 5 gameplay went up today as well. Part 1 of that new series started today. And Off the Script on Saturday. That was Saturday's episode right before Fastlane, covering WrestleMania 35 news and rumors, major news on Kofi Kingston, man. Thank you guys so very much for all your support. I'm getting out of here, and I will see you all tomorrow with some form of video content here on the channel. And then I'll see you guys, as always, for Friday, episode 265 of Off the Script. Don't know what we're going to be talking about. I still got to format the rest of the show. But until then, guys, thank you so much. And I'll see you right back here with more wrestling on the channel with Off the Script on Friday afternoon. Hit that thumbs up, and I'll talk to you guys later.